dominion over the realm of how we're integrating consciousness. If you could do that, you'd be very happy. You'd be directing everybody.
That's so spot on. It says we're live on YouTube.
Yep.
All right, perfect. Hello, everybody. My name is Jen. Welcome back.
How is everybody? My name's Danny Guru.
Hello, everybody. Well, we're live, Danny.
Good deal.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another video. My name is Jen, and today I have Danny Guru back on with me. We're going to be doing some galactic updates and breakdowns on human design, and we are working on getting this to be a every Sunday show. So super excited to have you back on.
Thumbs up.
We were just chit-chatting about some human design behind the scenes, and we felt like we were going to start from ground zero today on human design. What is it? How you can pull your chart, how you can find your own human design. And I think Danny's going to go into some breakdown on the different types and what you're looking at when you're looking at a chart.
Yeah, that's a big one. What the heck am I seeing here when we see a human design chart? So Jen, help me out here. Should we assume that most people have even seen their chart, or let's start before that?
Let's start before that, because I know that there's some people that may be following me or may watch this video, or whoever we show it to doesn't know anything about human design. And I will say this, I didn't know anything about human design, and I am seeing it more and more pop up, come up in people's thread. But for me, human design added an extra. It went deeper than what astrology could give or anything else could give. And I love the way that you explain it and how you help people, especially knowing who they are and how they interact with the world.
No, this all makes sense. Well, first things first, everyone should be able to go to www.the Archive. So it's just jovianarchive.com. And depending on how your browser looks, it will be get your free chart. And Jen's getting there right now. So this is just to basically have your immediate curiosity taken care of. You see that? Get your free. Where was the little click on that? There it is.
Yeah. Yes, I had already got it, but this is the website you're going to go to. This is what it looks, guys. When you scroll down, you'll see the get your free chart.
And that's what a chart looks like. Okay. Yeah. You want to type one in here? Let's type in today's information. Let's see what's going on in the weather today as we move along, just to have it up and something we can look at.
So just do today's?
Yeah, just do today. Yep.
Okay.
Today is 13/2. If everyone notices, it's very simple. It's a day first, month next. The time you have to put in military time.
That's right.
So what time is it for you? About 5:30?
It's 5:30. So what is that?
That would be 17:30.
And then the minutes.
Yep.
And then
so 17:30, and then put your state and your town.
And then Houston.
Look at that. Calculate.
Boom. All right. Manifesting generator.
Yep. So
this is what's going to come up, and this is what today's episode is all about. What the heck
are we looking at here? So let's just stay here for a moment. And I won't be going through so much what the forecast is telling us. I want to use the mechanics of what we're looking at here to describe to people. Human design came onto the planet in order to give us a bird's eye view of that one thing we've always opined for when we had children. I wish this thing came with an owner's manual. How many owner's manual jokes do we got out there between grandparents and new parents, right? So everyone always says it. They don't come with a manual. Now they do, is the thing. This manual ends up showing us an imprinting. Human design is a conglomeration of the ability to take two different pieces of very important exact information, much of which we get from NASA, and show us as we go around the sun, as we move our trajectory. If a person is born at a certain place in time, it gives us a transfer system. It goes from point A to point B. We solve for C. And in solving for C, we get all of these gates that are here on this body graph. I don't know if you can blow up just the picture of the actual body graph itself. Doesn't even matter if you can see the numbers on the sides.
I would have to save it.
Well, no, just leave it right there. It's close enough.
Yes.
So it may be a little difficult to tell. The numbers go 1 through 64, and they represent our genetic material. We have 64 codons in our human DNA. Codons synthesized for the amino acids that are gonna be used to go ahead and create genes that then sew up into a chromosome, and bam, we're standing upright. Well, in human design, what it's demonstrating and what it shows us is that all of this energy, that is that genetic movement, is also vibrating up to the surface for each codon to give us a way in which we naturally will be. And what you're looking at when you see a body graph is you see the numbers that are differentiated in you. So
the numbers are correlating to the different strands in the DNA?
Yep, to the different codons of our genetic material. So there's 64 codons on the planet. Human beings happen to have all 64 of them, sewing us up over and over again. And some things have less. Most mammals, dogs have, I believe, 15 or 16. They have all the codons, but differentiated in them, there'll only be 16.
Okay.
Yeah, we get all 64 differentiated in us at the time of birth, and our genetic material gets struck in place, minted like a coin, and the next thing you know, this stamp right here is you for the life you live on this planet. So when your turn comes up, let's stamp out one of these. We need a Jennifer. Okay, boom. A little while earlier, well, we need a Dan. Well, okay, boom, stamp them out. And that's what's happening. And all our unique individual ways are required to commune genetically. We must commune or else we get sick. I don't know if anyone's noticed that. So that part of our illness for the planet is our lack of communion. And as we commune, we literally take our genetic material through our aura and we insert it into the other. And they do the same with us. And we call that, oh, I had a good feeling about that person. Oh, they were a wonderful hugger. Oh, wasn't that person so nice? Oh, I wasn't sure about that one. I don't know. You know, all of these things and these feelings we get, they're being communicated faster than Wi-Fi through our aura as soon as we're in communion with the other. It's rather striking. And this imprinting is the map of what's coming out your aura and the ways in which you will be. So everywhere there's a little purple circle on that picture in the center is a number. That number is called a gate. So you notice at the top, there's a gate 61 and a gate 24. Yep. So that makes a channel. Gate on either end means you have a channel that becomes a steady life force. Down at the very bottom of the thing, see how there's a gate 60 pointing up?
Yes.
That gate 60 stands alone. It's a gate. That one's called the gate of limitation. It's all about acceptance, and it's the transcendence of limitation through acceptance. Go figure, humanity has a genetic proclivity to basically transcend limitation through acceptance. Sounds like we're all a Buddha, genetically.
Okay. So each number stands for a specific thing and how it connects, whether, you know, the 24 and the 61 is a channel where if it's not connected, then it's just a gate.
It's just a gate.
Okay.
And it's still just a gate. It's still just a gate in a channel, but the channel shifts the meanings of the gates and turns it into a quantum, something greater than what the two parts by themselves would be.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. So those are gates. That's a channel. But so at the time of your birth, this imprinting that we're seeing here, it tells me who this child is and who this child is not. This is a child born as of the time of this podcast. I can say this kid is going to be super duper busy. They're going to want to stay busy. They're going to be contagious. They're on the cross of contagion. Their contagion is going to be all about basically the reserve to let out a feeling, one feeling at a time, and let it brew and become contagious till they're finally saying, yes, I want into the thing. This person wants to contribute their unique inspiration. They want to do it right now. So mom and dad to this child are going to have to recognize, I've got a busy generator empowered to continually be themselves right now. They're always going to be trying to solve the mystery. They're going to have a lot to say, loaded down with details, and they're not going to help but to want to say yes to things. It's just exciting. That's why it's the cross of contagion. They want to say yes, it's contagious. So that's this kid. So for right now, you know, there's 1 million of these children being born over the next day or 2 or 3 or whatever it is that this cross is going to be in the sky, and that the profile will change each day. It'll go through 1 or 2 shifts, and that 1-3 will become a different profile. It'll move through, just like our genome is constantly being sewn up. Everything on this body graph moves with our trajectory around the sun, period. And human design is given life by knowing how the sun is interacting with our genetic material.
Oh, and it absolutely does. And I think everybody who has been following the sun, especially like the solar flares and the Schumann resonance, we are now seeing how it is impacting us as a whole. So that makes complete sense. And for guys, those of you who are watching, we're going to do several different series segments to kind of break it down even more. So you know, if you're not quite understanding what everything is, we're definitely going to be diving into the different,
Plan on
deeper.
10 of them, I would guess. I say this is a 10 segment series would be my guess. And to make one last point, to simplify it all, this body graph shows us with absolute reliability. Don't trust me, just call it in and you'll see. With absolute reliability, who you are and who you are not, for the purposes of demonstrating to you how we've spent too much time chasing what we are not and we were not aware. When you have this awareness, you become yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And by the way, yourself is perfect. There's no bad design. No such thing. God doesn't make mistakes, Jen.
No, he does not.
No, or she. Yeah.
Yep, does not. And that's why I absolutely love
Yeah.
understanding human design and how where it literally, everybody has a genetic code, a purpose. They
Yep.
are meant to do something. They connect to another human being in a certain way. So it is, when I wrap my head around it and I look at not only my design, but how I interact with other people, I can see what happens when these channels and these gates get activated and the
Yep.
energy. It's pretty amazing. So
It's absolutely striking. Let's stay on here for a moment.
okay.
To basically just go over some more aspects of certain things that are of consequence. Like, so before I do that, is there a question that might occur to you to ask me? Anything to help lead me along?
Well, you talked about the channel and the gate. So do you want to kind of go in depth with like what the colors mean, the reds,
Well, let's stay
or
a little bit more broad and talk about really genetically let's demystify this. I would like to
okay.
demystify this. That's something that always comes up. I don't have time to do in a regular call since we're doing a series. The
Okay.
demystification of human design. It's wicked important. This stopped being mystical a long time ago,
Yes.
because really it's practical mechanics. The mystical part of human design, like any new science, is like, well, how the hell did they know? You know, so we can get into that along the way. But now that it's in practical application, millions and millions and millions of times in, with constant repetition of its success that it repeats, that's science. What are you to do? So to demystify this a little bit, once you get past that, oh my God, here I am, and you just start to accept that for a moment while we're having a call, let's say, and you're hearing your first reading, is to start to recognize all the space that is white on here is what you are not. And it's the things that you've been genetically driven to try and connect with. And this is because we are a species. We have to reproduce. And if we're going to reproduce, the genes do not care. You know, if I can give them a voice, they're like, we don't care what happens at the surface. Did they reproduce? Okay, good. Did their reproductions make it 7, 8, 10 years, long enough to live on their own? Yep. Okay. They don't care how many times we get divorced, get sad, want to drive our car off the bridge, or the flip side of that, fall fantastically in love and run off and get married. Oops, you know, maybe not the right choice in that moment. It's all of these things, we get swept away by the things we are not. The genetic imperative simply says, and everyone is afflicted by it, it's a chemistry in your body. You know it as an urge. It feels like I want to go with, I might be missing out if I don't. You know, all these feelings in your body, and it drives you to seek the things you're not, because our genome seeks difference. That's genetics 101. I mean, the science of genetics is the genome will always seek difference. If it gets straight up sameness, that's a dead end street. Too much sameness and you're fully inbred and your gene pool dies. I mean, that's just a fact.
Interesting. Okay.
So we around here, we like to follow the science. So with that in mind, all of this stuff is percolating up to this old not self mind of ours that we haven't had for 240 years, and we're still stuck in its old way. It's playing itself out right now.
Does that come from also the programming? Is that where the whole, you know, you are what you think, and because humanity has been thinking this way for a long time, that's how we've been programming ourselves?
Well, in a sense, it's a combination. The programming is a dance between us and our receptiveness to the programming, and the programming itself. Basically, we may have been ready for this information 1,000 years ago, for all we know.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But because we, you know,
because we weren't ready
to things, yes, but we've also been, humans as a whole have been put in this like incubator where they have made us feel this way, like if we don't have something, or if somebody has something, like these emotions that we have or what we're chasing after in life. So
if you're chasing it, it ain't you. Almost certainly 9 times out of 10. That's not always, but if you're chasing it, unless you're a manifester, and even then, when you're a manifester, you can totally be not yourself chasing the thing that you're not. That's totally, but basically, if you're chasing,
and I've done that.
Yep, as have we all. If you're chasing it, it's literally what you're not. The thing about the strategy and authority of this body graph, and why it's so important to see how you're differentiated and seeing all of the things that you're not, is you start to see how they've taken control of this, what we call the not self mind, the mind that used to be in charge. And yes, we might have been ready for this information 1,000 years ago. There were probably pockets of us that could have taken it on, for all we know. Throughout the millennia, there may have been civilizations that were totally could have taken this on, but we didn't have NASA to chart exactly down to the meter where the planets are at every given second. So it would have been hard for them to draft a chart, because this chart requires accurate pinpoint positioning. We didn't have that till, you know, into the 40s and 50s. We had it pretty good, and by the time NASA was up and running, we honed that stuff down to within seconds. And at this point in time, we know we see the movement. It's clear. And we've always known the movement for hundreds of years, but I'm talking about pinpoint accuracy. You know, so until we had that, we really couldn't do all this. So, and the second thing we really weren't ready for was the language. We needed scientific language. And until last century and now, we didn't have the scientific language to really discuss genetic codons. Hey, this is bubbling up from your genome. Yeah, and in 1920, people be like, genome, what the hell is that? I heard someone looked into it once. You're a quack. Now we say genome, and everybody in your genetics, and everyone, if you're 5 years old, you know what that means, ish, mostly. So we had to speak in this language, and it's the language that we call, and when we do a human design reading, we will keynote you. If this were your body graph, I would start to keynote how this person doesn't always feel safe. This person doesn't always feel worthy. And this person feels their emotional wherewithal is disconnected from how they're always so busy. They would feel also that I need to get out in a crowd at times. I can't just be with one person all the time. They don't know any of this. If an adult had this chart, the partner of this adult that they just broke up with would be like, yeah, I could, this person always wanted to, I wasn't good enough for him. That's what the partner A, B leaving would think. And partner A would be like, I don't know why I made it sound like he wasn't good enough for me, or she wasn't good enough, but they left, so they must not have been good enough for me. These two beings now just parted ways, not as themselves. They had no idea. The lessons of their romance is gone, blah, blah, blah. And I can see all of that just at a glance on this chart, because I can keynote it. I just described things in words. And if I describe this again an hour later, I'm going to use the same keynoted. A keynote is a word or a phrase that repeats. And I use it over and over again. And as we keynote in conversation, it then allows me at the end of a reading, for instance, by the beginning of the reading, lots of questions, we're working at it. By the end of the reading, I am keynoting them so well that, and any good reader will be keynoting them so well that they're speaking in the language of that person. And that's why, Jen, when I first read for you, do you remember how intimate we were on a phone call? We were brother and sister by the end. We were like, there was no separation between us. And you don't get that from just talking to anybody. You can only get that when suddenly the communion is there and we're recognizing, oh my dear Lord, this reader is into me. And I'm realizing, oh my dear Lord, this readee, you, is receiving. And suddenly now we know each other in a way no two humans have known each other yet on this planet.
Well, it's that understanding at a deeper level of who you are outside of the white channels of the stuff that you're chasing after, the false identity, the perception of who you think you are, the mask that you wear. When you strip that away, and you were able to pinpoint things or bring things out of me that made me gain a deeper awareness about myself.
Right. And as I recall, Jen, in the very beginning, you had this awareness that I knew I was supposed to just do what I felt like. I forgot what it was. It was something, it's an awareness that you've been holding yourself back a time or two, or enough or something. Do you remember how that felt in the moment? Because it would have been striking. We would have gone silent. Probably.
It was me knowing that I needed to do things completely different from everybody else, or I was supposed to lead the way, and I feel like it, especially on my personal journey or on my business journey, because this is how I really incorporate human design. I would get lost within the shuffle of everybody else. There's so many coaches out there that I couldn't find my own individuality. Where was my avenue? Where, when you were talking about me being a manifester, I meant to do something new. I meant to take the lead out of the box, completely different. And when you helped me realize that, I was able to utilize my energy a lot better. Like, oh, okay, well, I'm designed to do that. That makes sense.
Right. And then you started to realize I'm also designed to have a regular bedtime.
Yes.
You started to watch your rest of yourself more sacredly. Like it'd be easy, because it's easy for us to try and pull a couple all-nighters and even pat ourselves on the back at what a hero we are for doing it.
I can't do all-nighters.
No, but I'm saying it would be easy for us to just go too far and then, oh my God, I made it a day and a half and we did X, Y, and Z and pat ourselves on the back for it. Instead of spreading it out over 2 days and getting the rest needed in between.
Exactly.
And do you also remember one last aspect of, once you realized, oh, I'm supposed to do this, at first it sounded really sexy. Oh, great, I'm the doer, right? That's your manifestor type, the initiator, to initiate. That's literally in your aura. Do you remember a moment in time later where it's like, oh my God, I need to initiate. This is a burden. It's scary. I'm all alone. I'm out front.
Well, yes, it is.
What I want you
Be
to do is everyone in the very beginning, not everyone, so many in the very beginning say they want to be the other. That's their conditioning, however it is. I want to manifest. I'm going to manifest everything. No, you're going to respond and then you'll move a mountain. You're a generator. If you try to manifest, you'll move a few molehills and that's it. Can you explain a little bit what it might have felt like a couple of those times when you realized, hey, this isn't just all fun and games. In fact, it's not even all that sexy sometimes. I'm literally stuck out front, not knowing anything. Or not necessarily being aware what to do next. I mean, because I'm in front. If someone else went first, I'd follow them. Maybe you didn't, but most manifestors come across that moment.
No, I did come across that moment because the last thing that I ever want to do, I mean, I always knew, I always had the feeling that I was meant to either take the lead or I am the initiator. I always have been my whole entire life. And when I was younger, I was the one that, when I did stuff in junior high or high school, everyone else followed me. And I didn't want anyone to follow me because if I was going to get in my own trouble, I was going to do it myself. Now, because I am doing what I do and what I feel, especially manifestors, a lot of us are here to serve a greater impact. I had to come to terms that because I'm taking the lead, people are going to follow. I'm going to activate. I'm going to initiate. And I don't ever want to lead people wrong, or because I may say something or I'm so ahead of things, not everybody's going to agree at that moment. And I have to be okay with that, knowing that what I am experiencing, what I know to be true to my inner gnosis, is all that counts. Because
And that felt normal enough to you?
no, it's something I've had to work with.
Right. Okay. Right.
It was an adjustment. It was a shift. It was coming to terms and also working through a lot of my limiting beliefs and
Right.
everything, because it goes along with, for a long time, I struggled with comparing myself. I'm a manifestor. I'm not supposed to compare myself,
Right. Right.
but I did for years.
Yep. And that would have held you back. Yeah.
It held me back.
What are some other really cool terms out there that are common language, common keynotes out in the world? Limiting beliefs. Everyone's heard of that.
Limiting beliefs,
Yeah.
shadow work.
That'll work. Another one?
I'm trying to think of some.
Um,
The programming that you have.
Yep. The conditioning we get growing up.
Yes, conditioning. I was just thinking that your environment that you were
Shadows,
raised.
programming, conditioning, and I forgot the very first one. It was a really good one. Limiting beliefs.
Well, even the education system. This is why I love human design too, because I feel like the education system, and especially what we're doing with these children, is we are putting them into an institution and teaching them that they're all the same. They're not all the same, and
They're
that's where.
specifically exactly not, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The first school system, a district, charter school, whoever the first is in the nation, I'll be there to even volunteer to help set you up. But the first school system actually pick this stuff up will be the one that develops next generation's leaders.
Yes.
I mean, they'll all come out. Everyone will be like, how come all the leaders are out of this one little charter school in the middle of some nowhere town that some lady who used to bake muffins decided to create? What the hell? It's not the Klaus Schwab school of the successful or whatever, it's not Yale. They're going to come out of whoever puts this in place first, period. So let me deal with these common terms. Still looking at this body graph is perfect for just now. So someone sees this, they go on, they're like, okay, so this is going to tell me who I am and who I'm not. It's going to give you some other real practical tools, some strategy and authority on exactly how to access the awareness of what you are and what you're not. And all the things that are limiting beliefs, shadows, the other couple things that we just got conditioning, the things we just mentioned, they're all literally in this body graph. They're mostly held up in the two open spaces. So I will immediately be able to use this as the diagnostic tool that it is. This is a diagnostic tool. It belongs on a patient's chart in a hospital and a kid's file in their thing. And people should walk around with little name tags that also have their design on it. So the other can know. So I can point right now to the two open centers that would then be the cause of this person's limiting beliefs. They are the ego center, which is the little triangle off to the right of the yellow diamond.
This one?
Yep.
Okay.
Wide open ego center. And then it would be to the left, the spleen.
This.
The other one that's open.
All white?
Yep, all white. That's the spleen. So the spleen is responsible for it's our immune system. It's the spleen, and it's vibrating out an energy that the not self mind picks up and gives it its not self strategy. I would be showing this to the person, showing how their limiting belief wasn't a limiting belief. It was just who they are not. I mean, and it was a limiting belief. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, it limited a bunch of crap. But I would point out, you have this open spleen. It means that over your whole life, you have hung on to things that weren't good for you. The spleen just wants to be safe. And if it's open, it fears its own safety, doesn't even know what to fear at times. And so it fears everything and it wants to act spontaneously. That's who it's not. If you have an open spleen, you're here becoming wise and aware on all the things that are safe, not safe, good, not good, how other people will determine whether or not it's safe, not safe, whether their spontaneity is actually a good idea or not. And you can be as spontaneous as you want in response, because this is a generator. So, and
we'll go over the different types here in a moment.
Yeah, we totally will. So that's what this open spleen is going to do. This person's going to get into a relationship, and it's a guy, and he's going to hold on to that girl he's in love with, and she's going to have a defined spleen because he's going to seek her out because he's seeking difference and doesn't know it. And he's 17 years old, and it's his second big crush, and he falls in love, and he's in high school, and the next thing you know, that girl starts dating someone else, and this person is broken, doesn't feel good anymore. Can't even feel good, can't wake up in the morning feeling good. Then all of a sudden, all the activations in his chart and all the definition start working against him. The channel up top, the channel of mystery, 6124, constantly going over and over and over again, the things that can and can't know. It's about knowing. It's in a pulse, and it'll be pulsing on this person. What didn't I know? How come I'm not? How come I'm not? The channel of charisma, that red channel that has an angle in it. It's all about where awareness must become deed. I'm aware, so I do. It can't help it. In a generator, that's a response. Oh, I became aware. I just did. The person said something. I said something back, and suddenly that's going to start working against him, all because of this open spleen where he doesn't feel safe. I don't feel safe. I'm going to drive my car fast. I'm pissed, Da, 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 da. I don't feel safe. I'm going to be da, da, da. I'm going to do it extra fast. I'm busy being not safe. And the open ego says, I'm not worthy. I have to prove I'm worthy. I'm always competing. I'm not sure if I need to compete more. I'm afraid to compete because I don't like losing. Ego people, they can take a fair loss, no sweat. Open ego people, they think they lost, and they have this awful question that keeps going on inside of them. And it sounds like this. Oh my God, they just did that thing so good. How come I'm not that good?
Yes.
It's immediate, and it's immediate. And when you did your comparing, you didn't wonder why you weren't that good. Your comparisons would have been, I don't like how that feels. Essentially, you're emotional. It would have been, and if the other person did something that wasn't even correct, you'd have been there with your big ego on fire, initiating an inquiry. Hey, you cheated. Your ego would have called them out on cheating, whereas the open ego would want to call them out on cheating, but would be afraid it would look unworthy if it did. So stack these up. I'm not feeling worthy. I can't value my own self, and I don't feel safe. She left me because I'm not worthy. If you have an open ego, you've got nothing to prove.
Okay, so guys, I want to point something out that he is pointing out. You see, if you understand this, like if you get this chart done on yourself or even your kids, you can help them, because it's literally like a program of how you're going to react, how you're going to tick, how you're going to see, view, all those things. So you can help people and understand that maybe you're responding, it's just a part of you.
Right, right, right. And the younger, the better. The 5-year-old, I always use the age of 5 as an archetype. Old enough to speak, innocent enough to still be innocent. So the 4 or 5-year-old would just hear their mom or dad say, "Oh, great, I got nothing to prove." They might have been kicking the dirt or pissed about something. They were playing baseball with friends, but they couldn't make a catch, couldn't make a hit. And they started feeling down because of the conditioning. And then along comes a parent and points out, "Oh, you have nothing to prove, honey." At 5 years old, they can start to incorporate that easily, just like they learn a language. This is just a
Yes.
language. Yeah. And the same
Yep.
thing with the open spleen. So yeah, that's what this will do for an adult. It's hard because it's hard for us to hear stuff. We got to decondition, but children is where this belongs. They don't have to decondition. They have to literally be themselves. Jen, you're pretty well integrated. My guess is when you were young, just tell me if this is true, you were essentially left alone. Not lonely necessarily. I mean, people may have been around and stuff, but mostly, is it true that your parents didn't just overbear upon you with every rule and every last dogma of every last thing, or did they?
No, they didn't. My mom didn't really.
So basically, how much do you remember mom or dad or just mom or whatever the authority was in the house busting into your room over and over, telling you how to live your life, telling you what you had to do, what you had to do?
That didn't happen until my teenager years.
Oh, by then it was way too late. Aha.
Yes, but
I
when I
pity the
was
poor parent.
um
But in your younger years, what I'm looking at are 7-year cycles. That's our cellular cycle. And it happens,
yeah.
our cellular cycle happens to fall in line with Saturn. Every Saturn quarter is a cellular cycle. A full Saturn cycle is a wicked important thing in design when Saturn goes around once. So basically every 7 years, we turn over. So it sounds like you had your first 7-year period and most of your second 7-year period sort of left alone.
I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much a lot of
Good
it.
deal. Then people essentially weren't conditioning you nearly as much as they could have. As soon as your parents would have been interfering with your own process, whatever that was, the initiator, you would have been like, "This is resistance. Don't tell me what to do."
No. Yeah, that was a lot of me.
And now suddenly you'd be arguing and there'd be all kinds of stuff, but you didn't have to go through that till you were a teenager and you were already conditioned to be more towards yourself than not.
Yeah, I was very rebellious, especially the more
Teenage.
that I got the restraint, the more I did rebel.
Of course, you had to. Your genome would have you do no other thing. You were helpless but to rebel. And now I'm the therapist for this parent or sort of counselor at school with all this information. And I start pointing out to your parents, "Oh, you guys are lacking these tools. That's all. Your child can't help it." It'd be like asking the quadriplegic to start walking and being mad at them because they can't walk. What do you mean? It's not fair. So this is just this. I mean, this is just a thing. It's a way of that child. And suddenly you can tell the parents, this child can't help it. We need larger boundaries. We need boundaries that have farther out edges. And as it turns out, we need that for all the types. It's not just
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
The children, Zach Bush said it once really good. I don't know what to do with these little creatures. I just build a big pen around them as big as I can and, keep them safe and interact with them, and these creatures will raise themselves. They know what they need, and he was right. I've heard other people recognize that. They are correct. It's not about being hands off, it's about being expansive.
Hmm.
And if you're going to be a parent, get the hell out of the dogma that says I'm the boss and I'm the authority and you'll do everything I say, period. That's just not going to work.
Yeah.
It's gonna raise more homogenized kids with chips on their shoulders and all messed up. So yeah, that's what we get out of this a body graph. Good spot for, maybe, do you have a question?
No, not at the moment, because I feel like this is a good spot to pause on this, and maybe go into the different types. You think?
Let's do that. Let's go into the different types.
Okay.
So remember this picture, guys. You're looking at a body graph. It's got some colored in stuff and not. That's all you need to know.
Sure too. I'm going to stop share for a moment because I want to make sure that I have the and you know that one picture that you wanted, they didn't let us download it.
Oh, really?
No.
With the auras?
Yeah, but I have another one on the backup. Sometimes I pick the wrong thing to like it's either the window or specific thing, so I wanted to make sure.
Yeah, perfect.
Do you see the manifester? And
yep, I see it all. Can you see it all?
Yes, I can see it all. Is this a good one? This is the one I could say.
Perfect one. It's absolutely gorgeous. Yep.
All right.
So it's hard to basically project out what an aura actually is doing on a two-dimensional surface. So starting with the manifester, the reason this aura is so important is because the definition from the previous slide, definition is just where there's a channel. Definition determines what type you are. So without going into all the details of how it does that, a manifestor type, their definition creates an aura inside the manifestor that gives them their 3 or 4 main components. All types have these main components. What does their aura do? Component 1. What is their aura seeking? Question 2. What is it seeking? What is the question it's answering?
Okay.
And basically, what's its purpose here? What's it doing here? And I guess there would be a 5th one. What's the not self and the true self of this aura, of this being? So you add up these 4 or 5 things. One of them can be combined. It's really 4 things.
Just like your shadow side and your real side. Yes.
You add up those 4 little aspects and you get what the aura is doing. So look at the manifestor aura. When we're using words and language, closed and repelling doesn't sound good, does it?
But no, it doesn't.
And when we first went over this, I remember almost every manifestor has some resistance to that. However, as keynotes, closed is like what the running back is on a football team. When that running back gets that ball, they close up and they start running, right? They don't hold the ball up in the air, right? No, they pull it in tight. Repelling, when that running back gets that ball, not only does he close that aura, he becomes repelling and gets smaller. He literally gets a hair smaller to try and bulldog through the resistance. And a running back is the perfect description for a manifestor. That running back isn't there to run every play of a long game all the way into overtime. The running back will become fatigued. That running back is to share that responsibility with other running backs, right? So it's always a team. That same running back is not only closed and repelling, but as a manifestor, he's just trying, or she's just trying to get to the other side. It means they're always trying to repel resistance. Suddenly this aura is really cool. You mean I can close off and repel resistance? Yes. That sounds handy. Give me some more of that. It doesn't mean you're closed and repelling to the other. It just means as soon as you are manifesting, suddenly more and more, and those moments that ensue, your aura literally becomes unstoppable. And it's not fully unstoppable, people will resist it. And as they resist it and you get stopped, there's a problem. And the only way that problem can get solved is to go through the full cycle of, are you at peace or are you becoming angry? The signature, the signature binary. So an aura tells us closed and repelling to resistance, not to people. You're perfectly loving and open to all kinds of things, magic and all of it. It's just as it relates to your movement through the world, closed and repelling, to make your movement okay. And then
Yes.
the aura then next says, what's my binary of that I'm living out? I'm living out peace gives my genome health, and my body and my vessel, my vehicle. I am healthiest when I am at peace. At peace to you is not being resisted.
Yes, it
Right.
is.
And anger comes out when that resistance starts building its layers, right? As soon as those layers start going, one layer of resistance, Jen will have a minor burst of little internal anger. Oh, for heaven's sake, she'll say, right? March right through. There goes Jen. Put another layer up there and another layer and another layer. And finally, it's like the anger is correct for a manifestor. So everyone out there, when you pull your chart, if you find out you're a manifestor, recognize you have a chemistry that pours into your body that says, give this person anger at the moment of too much resistance. That's handy to
And it's
know.
pretty powerful too when it comes through. And now
Yes.
that I recognize it,
Yep.
I can channel it a lot better and
Abs-
utilize it with my
And
energy when I
yes.
am closed and in that repelling stage, because
Yep.
I'm not I'm more in control of it.
Absolute aware, knowing it helps. I have a saying I'll repeat over and over again: seeing it kills it. When you see it, you start to kill the old way. The old
Yes.
not self way dies off.
Yes.
I call it the boogeyman, the bogeyman, the not self. Seeing it kills it. Sort of like, a lot of the BS on our planet right now. The more you see it, well, I wish seeing it killed it, because we see it and it's not dying yet, but
It's oh man.
we'll get it. Seeing it kills it. It's just a way to look at it.
We just got to
So
get everyone else to see
the
it.
manifestor goes through peace and moments of just basically an upsetness, a frustration, but really it's characterized by the keynote of anger, peace to anger. And then the manifestor has this existential question pouring out of its aura. And that existential question is to themselves when they feel like asking it. Each manifestor needs to learn this question. What's my impact? What is my impact?
Mhm.
And if you're a manifestor and you can't tell what your impact is, or the question seems vague or foreign to you, then you haven't been your manifestor self.
Yep.
Essentially,
I
it's,
can say that's a fact.
yep, what's my impact? So that you can start to become your restless self when you see your impact is not being heard, seen, done, effective, impacting. You leave behind a wake as tall as an ocean liner wake of a boat of impact when you're being yourself, and you tow all of the rest of us along in impact with you. It doesn't mean we're going the same direction and we're all doing the same thing. It's not like follow the leader. It's an energy assist.
Mhm.
Humanity is 7 billion of us, and the manifestors are dragging humanity forward through impact.
Mhm.
And the generators are kicking and screaming, wondering what are their responses to it all. When we start
Yes.
responding, suddenly, as ourselves, I'll move on to generator, it will be, much more healthy. So
Yeah,
those are
jump into it. Jump into what the
the
generators are.
generator. So
Oh,
that's
well,
the
wait,
aura. And
wait.
again, this aura is something we spit out. It communicates with the other.
Back up
Manifest
just
the
a
thing.
moment. Back up just a moment. Tell everybody what is the percentage first of.
So 9% are manifestors. And
Okay.
I hear that number is starting to tick up as the world is going through its transformation. Apparently, the program decided we need a few more manifestors. It might be up as high as 10% or 9.9 or 10.2 or so.
And notice, guys, when he is giving you this data scientifically, and we were talking about this off camera before we went live, but like people getting their charts done, the website we told you to, they are literally building data to give you this percentage after so many people have gotten their charts pulled. So this is like scientific data that's been collected
Yeah,
over
we're up
how
to
many years?
tens of millions of them now since somewhere in the middle 90s. Tens of
Yes.
millions of people have come in, and type still holds the same as these
Yes.
percentages, and they still operate the same. So, that's a lot of data. And it keeps not failing to give the data. So the manifestor, just go with 9%.
Okay.
The generator, about 70%. Actually, at this point in time, go with 10% for the manifestor, because the generator has dialed back to about 68%, 67 to 68%, and about 21% for projectors, and a little over 1% for the reflector.
Okay.
So 1, 20, 10, 70, close enough. The generator, look at that, it says open and enveloping. That's their aura as they move through this plane. Open and enveloping is the keynote. It means as you move through, slice through butter, hot knife. Generator, you know, we might be able to hot knife it through butter in response, but generally our aura is just open. It means we can't stop anything from coming in. Anyone can break into our aura. Everyone is broken into our aura just by approaching us. We have no choice. We open and envelop, and in that, the generator draws everyone in. Our strategy becomes to respond. We must respond to know what is true. That's all there is to it. And as I go through the exercise reading for a generator, I start to show them that responsive truth in them. This open enveloping aura stretches out 6 feet in every direction on or about 7 feet, 8 feet, depending sometimes. And it's asking this question as it's enveloping everything. It envelops it all, it samples it of sorts, and it says, who am I? The generator just simply is saying, who am I? And as the generator on the planet, we're here to just buzz with energy until we drop every night and degenerate into sleep and then regenerate awake again. We keep setting this pattern on the planet, and the generator, that's why it gets called the life force on the planet. It's not that it's special, it's that the generative box is constantly generating life.
Yeah.
It's the sacral, and the sacral is the sexual apparatus of the planet, not the sex of the planet, the juiciness, the apparatus of the planet, it's the testicles and the ovaries. Its primary concern is making more and protecting them.
Okay.
And so that's why it must be open and enveloping, because it must draw in everything in order to create the most possibilities possible for differentiating different offspring. There's back to our genetic imperative again. So in the generator, it's basically they're walking through never knowing what's next. We can't know, we don't know, and we try to manifest and initiate when our whole world comes into focus as soon as we wait to respond to life. In those responses comes the very same power the manifestor has when they're bulldozing through as an initiation. We have it as a response, no difference. You know, Jen, you're a powerful force, but if someone generating a response fully dead smack in against you, that's going to be a power struggle. You're not just going to be able to bulldog that person around. You will, as a manifestor, you will choose to go around them at some point, you know.
Yes.
So it's not one's more powerful than the other. There's just a different mechanic. They just work differently.
That's how we operate.
Yeah. So, and that generator in their responsiveness with this big open enveloping aura, taking everything in, their binary is between satisfaction and frustration. So now we have peace and anger. So we got 10% of the human units walking around, peace and anger, peace, angry, 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 peace, 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 peace. Angry, more of them angry than at peace.
Yeah, I was going to just say that.
Yeah, so think about what that says. So on a not self world where we're at currently still until we wake them up, 10% of the planet is helping to develop the anger more than peace aspect of humanity. We're angry.
So, do generators feed off of each other?
Oh, totally.
Okay.
Totally. And you guys feed off of us. Everyone feeds off the generator. The generator gets enslaved, and we can't help it because we don't know how to generate a response. We only know how to think with our mind and think out a decision when a mind has no authority to make a decision for us, not one. That's what's different about us.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So satisfaction and frustration. That means the generator is just supposed to be generating with that generative box. It's always buzzing with energy, waiting to make a response. They're supposed to just be buzzing along at shit that makes them satisfied. Yeah, it's good enough. I like it. What are you doing? I don't know. I'm fixing my hat collection. Okay. The kid's satisfied. Love it. Love it. Let the little generator burn out that energy. Love it.
That helps a lot of people too, generators, especially when it comes to their life and business, because I know a lot of generators personally that are doing different things. You know, they go from one thing and then they do the next. And some of them, especially in business, struggle with, I don't have it all figured out. I don't know why. Well, that's you.
As a
You're
responder, you won't have to figure it out anymore. We can show this to you, and in 1 week's worth of just experimenting with it, you will recognize, as scary as it is to surrender into the response of life that the Buddha in your body demands, genetically demands of you, or you will get sick. Surrender to that can be terrifying. However, as soon as you get through the other birthing side of that canal, you're free. You're free.
Yes.
Seeing it kills it.
Yes.
Seeing that your power comes out as a response kills it. So now generators, if we're in a not self world, very much so, the generator is more frustrated than satisfied. So now let's stack these keynotes up. Welcome to a frustrated, angry planet.
Very much so.
Very much so, because more of it's frustration. They're running into resistance.
Yes.
They're trying to initiate. They can't be sure why they can't get it done. I think I need to know all the stuff that I think I need to know tomorrow. Oh God, that person has an awful day all day long with that going on, instead of just waiting to respond. Oh, customer called. Okay, let me sell the deal. Hang the phone up and be like the dog. Look out the window for a minute. Oh, that's right. I need to do a report. Okay, go do the report. All of these are responses. It can be a response to a to-do list too. You made the to-do list, you look at it, now it's a response. Generator has no limitation on its responsiveness. If you don't feel like doing the thing on the to-do list, don't do it. That's your responsive nature. I don't wanna, The generator has truth in yes, no, and I don't know, It's a sound, you know, I don't know. And when they start to see that, that's where they get satisfaction. Projector has a mechanic. Their aura is focused. They're trying to show this as a focusing sound. It's coming out of the projector and it's sort of narrowing to a point. That's what that aura is trying to show. As it narrows to the point, what it's narrowing into is narrowing into the G center of the other. The projector is the only type that actually penetrates, their aura penetrates the other specifically to get at who they are, so they can answer their existential question. The genome of the projector aura needs to know, who are you? Who are you? So, and again, we'll stack up these keynotes so you can see how humanity is currently operating. And projectors get caught up all the time in who am I? That's not their question. The projector has this strategy that leads it between its binary. So their aura is focused and penetrating. It penetrates the other. The projector aura is best when it's one-on-one. As soon as it's even a small group, if it's not well organized, that projector can start to get disorganized. Too many times did it aura penetrate the other to their G center so they can know who they are without being able to, they can't mentally put it together. It's not something you can spit out. It's just the two auras now know. And that's why projectors, they get a chip on their shoulder, because sometimes people seems like they don't want to do what they say, or shall I say partake in whatever it is they're into, or even recognize them. People don't want to invite the projector sometimes because unaware to them, they don't want to be penetrated. So now if you're a projector, be aware your aura penetrates the other. If you see the other get a little bit skittish over whatever, recognize you're penetrating them. It may not feel comfortable at first. Suddenly you'll start to adapt your speech in however that would be normal for you in the moment, and the other person becomes less uncomfortable. In case you see it, it's just there to be aware of. Maybe you'll notice it. There are binaries between bitterness and victory, success. So the projector is literally here to master systems so that they can be recognized, because their strategy is to wait for an invitation. You have to wait to feel invited. If you're a projector and you're out trying to do what the generators are trying to do, which is initiate as well, not self-generator initiates, not self-projector initiates, not self-everyone initiates, because all of our parents think they want us to be like a manifester.
Mhm.
The only one our parents don't want us to be like a manifester is the manifester. That they want the manifester to now act more like a projector and a generator, wait
Yes.
and respond to my orders, do as I say. Not going to work. So that projector trying to answer the question, who are you? Having this penetrating aura that is collecting all this data, needing an invitation so that they can recognize, oh, the other is recognizing me. And so therefore I am here gaining mastery on systems that I will be recognized for. That's all. And if they're waffling between victory and success and bitterness, it's the waffle between I haven't mastered any systems I care to master and no one's recognizing me. I need the other's recognition. I need some form of a nod. Yeah, definitely. We want that. Someone will recognize a projector for a particular thing, or the projector will put forth something, and someone will be like, oh, yeah, that's really good. And suddenly the invitation draws the power out of that projector the same way a response draws the human carnal power out of a generator. Same power gets drawn out of the projector. Now they can save the world. There's no limit. The projector is perfect. So stack these keynotes up. Most of the world's projectors spend a lot of time with all the things considered bitterness, angry, little seething moments of anger, not feeling good enough, bitter at your own self, bitter that things didn't work out, expectations not getting met. It doesn't feel good. None of that's who you are. And so we've got an angry planet that's frustrated and bitter.
Yes.
Do you see how these keynotes stack up?
Yes, they do.
It's the same way when we read for a person, their keynotes stack up and I start to be able to read for them, and then they can do it for themselves and their children. The reflector.
What was the percentage of projectors?
20%.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure Jovian, if they were to publish right now, I think they publish once a year, maybe. I haven't even paid attention. Maybe it's up to 21% by now. The projectors are here to guide. I almost forgot. So manifestors, what's your impact? Generator is just what's your response? Reflector, are you guiding things? Can you feel that your guidance nature is being invited? And it doesn't mean you have to be the boss of everyone, but projectors make great foremen.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. And
Period.
they're yeah, the more that I look into projectors, because just like even with me and my business and doing team building, I would love to have a projector on, because a
Absolutely.
projector can give me that insight and that guidance of doing different or doing things a way that would be more beneficial.
And you're talking about the mundane portion of the guidance.
Correct.
Right. The genetic auric assist that it is they don't even have to, you don't even have to have been in their aura more than the first time. And there was a guidance being given.
Mm-hmm.
You may not even be able to put it into words. Every time we're around projectors, we are being guided.
Mm-hmm.
It's an auric assist. We're all giving each other's auric assist. So the reflector. Can we do that?
Yeah, go.
So the reflector, they're about 1% of the population. Again, I believe they'd actually upticked maybe 1.5%. But regardless, the smallest percentage, because their existential question is, what's my milieu? Who are they? What is this? In a way, the reflector is what the hell, about wherever they are. When you see a happy reflector, the society around it is healthy. When you see a reflector that is just down or something's not working, the society and the family and the things, the beings around them are not healthy. The humanity is not working right. Reflectors become our reflection. It's in the name. They reflect back the health of the society.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we only need about 1 per 100. That's all that's really needed. Michael Jackson was a reflector. Did you see how unhealthy that family life was?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Michael. I need to make myself whiter. I mean, what is that? You know, I'm not saying Michael lived this terribly unhappy life, but he
That's a
was,
good point.
I mean, he had his demons. I mean, he had to be with himself, you know. So he was, and I don't blame him for creating a fantasy life around him, you know. I
And
don't,
he did.
and he did. In fact, that was perfect. Good reflector. Protect yourself, because he was trying to create a reflection of something that would be healthy,
Yes.
you know, essentially. And where did he get caught wrong? Who knows where behind the scenes he was who he isn't. The not self, the binary of the reflector is this binary between surprise. That's good. Reflector's pleasantly surprised, happily surprised. Hey, the world's okay. Disappointment. Hey, the world's not okay. I didn't get the things. I'm not working right in here. And they have a decision-making process that doesn't wait for the invitation, doesn't really respond, even though they can react all the time. And it can sort of initiate a little bit, but their real strategy is to wait out a lunar cycle. If the question that they're having to ask doesn't need an invitation, doesn't need it to just be generated, and it doesn't need to create an impact, what's left for it is it needs to wait out a lunar cycle. It needs to, when the moon goes around the planet once, every gate on the other side of that reflector gates in their body graph has been defined, and they've lived out every channel for which they have a gate. If you notice in the picture, the reflector has no definition. There are no colored in centers. Can you see that there?
Yeah. It's let me see if I can.
It's sort of a crappy picture in that way, but all the other types have a archetype of what would be the generator definition.
This is,
Yep, they all have a definition, meaning there's some colored in centers and there's a channel. See, there's at least one channel. That's a generative channel. Here's a manifestor channel. That's down below. That is absolutely a projector channel right there. Look at this. No channels.
no
The
channel.
reflector is wide open. That's why they're asking, who are they? What are they? What the hell? What's my milieu? What's my environment? Is it healthy? They're literally interacting and open to the entirety of all things human. Whereas the rest of us have slight impediments and we experience all things human, they're open to all things human, period. So their aura by nature has to be resistant and sampling. They're open to all of it. I resist, but I'll sample, resist, sample, resist, sample. They're always taking a bite. They'll buy the apple, buy the orange, bite of the candy bar, whatever. They're just taking a bite, sample, grab, sample. So they're very resistant. You might have a hard time breaking through to a reflector. They resist first. They need to know that. Why are you always resisting me? Because I'm the reflector. I don't know. It's not healthy yet. Oh, I'm so surprised. It feels good. Yay, good reflector. How may you feel good, baby? You know, I like it. How may we help? So their aura disappointment is what comes along when what they keep sampling means just more of stuff they have to resist, and the sampling sucks. I can imagine Michael Jackson didn't really want to sample shit at the end of his life as it relates to his family and some of that stuff they would have put him through, you know, and all along his life, there would have been moments the 5-year-old in Michael knew to resist almost everything. I'm going to sing, you know, and he probably resisted and sampled just like a 5-year-old would innocently. But as he grew up, that you saw what happened.
Yes.
Rosalind Carter was I don't have any good Rosalind Carter stories because I don't know her life very well, but she was a reflector. Sandra Bullock is a reflector.
Okay.
So, and my human design book will have lots of examples of reflectors. But anyway, so those are the auras. Now let's stack up the keynotes. So the world is really supposed to be a place at peace, satisfied, with victory and success because of mastery, and pleasantly surprised at all of that. That's what we're supposed to be. That the salesman owes me a refund.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they sold me a Brooklyn Bridge for an Earth. Yep. So
that's a great way to put it.
Yeah,
But that's
well,
why it's key that we get this information out there and people start to understand who they are, how their designs work, how we can incorporate with each other. And just like he said, it's being aware of it is when we can make the change. Like I love how I didn't realize earlier when we were looking at the different channels and the white ones, that is your shadow self. That is the stuff that's not you.
right.
That one, if you had a realization that this was going to come up and that you could be able to work with it and see it at the beginning, because I can't tell you how, people struggle with that. The limiting beliefs and the mindset is that's where the transformation happens in an individual, is when they face their shadow self. You have it black and white with colors,
Yep.
right there, just by running your chart. So
If you're trying to act out the things that aren't your differentiation and your definition, you're acting out what you are not. And you're constantly doing that. That's what's happening. Nobody gets out alive if you're an adult currently right now. The only people that get out alive are children
mhm.
without all the bullshit. We need to get to the kids at some point. And I would renew my call to arms. Any charter school that wants to incorporate human design for real. Jen, I don't even know how best to get to them, but I say that's important. And I
Oh
would be
no,
more than
that's
happy to help.
definitely in the works. And anybody who is watching this, I know that there are a couple people that their missions here on this planet is to incorporate some type of a new earth education system.
Oh God,
um
please. Please.
even me, I've been called to do things to create schoolhouses for kids. I
Hmm.
I feel that this is something that is definitely should be part of the curriculum, not only for kids but also for parents as well. Because again, if we can start to realize and see it black and white, we can help these kids. We can,
We
start
can fix
really
our
making a
planet.
change.
We can
Yes,
fix our planet through the children. We can literally fix it all through the children and stop getting these dang question marks always got left over us like 2 generations now. Will we forget the lessons from now? Awake generations don't forget.
correct. I think we could wrap the show up on
Yeah.
that note.
Hmm.
It was a lot of information. Thank you so much. And like me and Danny have been talking, we definitely want to bring you this show every Sunday.
Yes.
Um, First, starting off with you understanding what human design is, how you can get your own chart, and also after we get through several segments, we're going to incorporate the energy and just things that, to be give you a heads up and how to integrate this into your life
Maybe a couple
better.
of call-ins. You never
Yes,
know.
absolutely. We definitely want to open it up for call-ins. I do want to say this too. Danny does human design readings, and he does it by donation. The only thing that he is asking, and I cannot tell you how important this is, guys, is leaving a testimony. So I've talked to him about it. If you want a reading from him, we'll definitely, if you want to give your number out on the show, you definitely can right now. I'll put it in the comments down below. And if you get a reading, please know that I will help record your testimony so we can get it up for him. But this is how passionate not only is he, but I am about getting this information and having people understand this knowledge so that we can start to make a change.
Jennifer, you're amazing. You nailed it. You said it way better than my fumbling words would have gone on too long saying.
Well, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
Oh no, it's perfect. Well, your best thing to do is to text me 413-246-5652. I'm one of those brave ones that does not care who has my number. This is too important. You can get on Instagram. I'm Danny Guru HD. Danny Guru HD on Instagram. You'll see this. I forget what picture I have up there of myself. And I guess email sucks because I don't look as much as I should, but you can email me at dannyg@dannyguru.com.
Wonderful. So guys, definitely pull your chart, get a reading from him. He can help you go deeper, and tune in next Sunday. I believe we're still nailing down a time, but we're going to make this consistent every Sunday. So definitely tune in next
Yay.
Sunday. Bring your questions as well. If you want to, if you have something, we'll do a little Q&A. I did check. We don't have any viewers at the moment, but the more we get this out, we'll get some more viewers. And bring your questions here, and let's see what. I mean, he's amazing on how he can read people. I have seen him work in a group, and it's amazing. I
Thank you,
keep
Jen.
telling him, you're the Matrix. It's like you can read the Matrix.
The keys, when we were out on our mission, I was the cat with the keys. Remember,
Yep.
you were Captain Jennifer. We were following you in Impact. It was beautiful.
All right, guys. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and we'll tune in next Sunday.
Thank you so much. Take it easy.